go.
And we're doing a commentary here. We got Johnny, you want to start us off? Tell us who you are, what you had to do with the film so people can recognize your voice.
You got it. I'm Johnny Durango, and I was the director of photography.
And Michelle?
I'm Michelle Lang. I was one of the producers.
Awesome.
Mel?
Yeah, Mel. Yeah, Mel here. Just, Mr. Claus. It was the clause in my contract.
And I'm Ashton Nelms, one of the writer-directors.
I'm Ian Nelms, one of the writer-directors. All right, here we go. Johnny, can you talk a little bit about this scene? Billy's bedroom. Just lighting it. And there's a lot that went into this, and we come back to this a couple of times.
Yeah, for Billy's house, I was really trying to do a thing where I connected him to Mel's character through lighting. So if you look in the movie, you'll see that Billy's character and Mel are lit very similarly, very soft wrapping light. Whereas with Walt and Billy, I was trying to connect them visually through the lensing, trying to put the camera a little further back, trying to do that kind of thing. So here we have nice warm tones and a little bit of cold seeping in through the windows to connect him to Skinny Man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it was such a fine getting chance. We searched high and low to find a talented young man. And I think at first we had written the character a little younger, but we found quickly that we need a little bit older actor to get the lines out.
Yeah, Chance was 13. I think our initial script was for 10. And then every time we did an audition, it was just like, okay, we're going to need an older kid. We got a lot of tough lines to spit out. He's got to do a lot of complex emotions. Yeah, but he was great. Found him in Vancouver.
I remember we were Skyping with him, and he was like, oh, just Skype with him. So he read the line. He was phenomenal. Did it perfectly. And he's like, oh, you want any adjustments? I'm like, well, just try this for fun. And aced it out just like that. And we knew we had the right
I guess
right
for young actors, he was so spot on. He was so ready and willing to kill it. I don't think that you have to be doing that, but it was really impressive to see him do that because we got instant results with him being able to turn it on and off and do whatever we asked of him.
Yeah, he's a sweet kid too, but he comes across as such a villainous little.
That was actually one of the things we were curious about because when we did the audition, he was so convincing. We were like, oh man, this kid might be really tough to work with because he was such a little shit. Yeah. And then just talking to him and he was he had such great energy. He was such a good kid and so talented.
Yeah, he seems to be very self-aware that he can actually turn that villainy switch.
Yeah, I don't know how you get that self-aware.
I don't know at that age. Are you kidding?
No. Were you acting when you were this young?
No.
No?
No, I was still trying to change my diaper.
He had these amazing little character things too, like his little skips when nobody's looking.
Yeah.
And you turn away and he becomes a child again.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting what he's doing there.
All right, Mal, your first scene here. Now, how cold was it out there?
It was, I don't know, was it 18 below or something?
A balmy 18 below.
There was, during the end shootout, it was negative 36.
Oh,
so
really? Yeah, no, it got very cold.
That was tough.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because that's where Fahrenheit and Celsius cross. Negative 36.
Is it really? Right?
Yeah, I looked it up when we were there. I was like, I gotta see what this is.
We're on the cusp of a whole sort of.
It was I'd never been that cold before, being from California and spending most of my life here.
Ian and Ash were joking as we went that only 2 boys from California would think this was a good idea.
Yeah, right. This much of the movie in snow.
I'm from Wisconsin, so I knew we were in for some.
You were prepared.
Yeah, I was a little more prepared.
I liked Ottawa. Ottawa was cool.
It was beautiful, right? Yeah. I remember that first day you rolled up and you're like, wow, what a great set you guys built. And we're like, no, a lot of this is
it's real.
Yeah, this is the Hogan family's farm, and it was incredible because
12 generations or
something.
something.
It was insane. This house and the barn are all built in the late 1800s. Their family was, farmers, ranchers for 100 some odd years.
And slowly built it out.
Yeah, and slowly built it out. It was amazing.
And I remember we scoured high and low. We wanted to find the farm. I think we looked at over 100 farms.
Absolutely, easily.
3 or 4 days, just around the whole countryside. And when we found this one, we were using Google Maps, and we're like, oh, that looks like a farm, but it was in the middle of a neighborhood. And we're like, well, we won't probably be able to use it. We should go look at it. And we drove down this road, and we had labeled we'd called the house Homestead in the script. And we went down Homestead Road, and at the end of Homestead Road,
there it was. And it always happens, doesn't it?
It was so
insane.
weird.
It makes the hair on your arms stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw this location, and then we instantly loved the 3 windows and presented the idea to Johnny. We said, we have to shoot something here.
Yeah, this was an interesting one because this one kind of came late into production because you guys had swapped out a location. So we were sort of on the spot taking a look at this, and pulling it together as quick as we did, I think it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, interesting in the script. It was written as a different intro. It was supposed to be in a toy store, and we rewrote it for this odd, crazy environment for numerous reasons. But I mean, Walton does such a great job, not only in this scene but in the whole damn film.
Yeah. Walton swipes it. He steals the show, man.
He's
great.
He's so he's so eccentric and out of control, and he's a wild man.
It was great to see him physically inhabit that, like his physicality of that character and using all the props in there. Like he just sat down at the desk for 10 minutes before we started shooting and started futzing with all the lights and everything and had all that business down real quick.
I like the little gentle theme in this scene about what's your childhood dream worth. You know, this idea of like this guy who didn't get his childhood dream and how that affects you as a grown-up. And I think so many people, like, Christmas is thought of as such like a happy time, but I think for so many people it also contains a lot of sad memories. So I like the script in the way that like this character represents the kind of underbelly of Christmas that often gets overlooked.
Well, and hopefully the placard on the back like says that to you, right? Like, oh, Santa's real. This is an authentic thing.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, you're stepping a little bit outside of reality there. That we're setting up a world where Santa's real. Santa's gonna. There's these presents are around. They seem to be pretty coveted.
But really, the idea of Santa, you know, started real, like with Saint Nick and how he used to come around, like the core essence of it.
Sure.
You know, so then it just builds, kind of like what would that be if this maintained the reality? You know, where like Saint Nick used to deliver. Wasn't the legend that he would deliver like something to each family?
No, he was a bishop, and he was Saint Nicholas was, and he used to actually give alms to poor people, and he wouldn't want anyone to know he did it. So he'd actually go by and throw a sack of coins through the window or something. That was he really
Totally
used to do.
anonymous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then people found out he was doing it, you know. So he turned, you know, Saint Nicholas, Santa Claus.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Such a cool beginning.
Congratulations, Christine. Oh, you have made Chester Elementary very proud.
Just gotta say something there. Can't have too much blank there.
I'll say that this scene was really interesting because we had the idea that this would be very grand, and I mean it is. And then when we were editing it, we ended up just chopping away to really the essence of the scene, and of course it got. You know, not only did the scene get smaller because it's just you want to move through this. This is kind of, you know, these are events that help you get to the actual crux of the film or what the film's about. So, I guess as far as writing and directing, it's always interesting to write something and have an idea of how it's going to play, and then in the editing room how you actually have to play it.
And then you have flush it down the It's like murdering your own children. It's like blood on the bench.
I think we went from a 152 runtime to what are we at
We're
now?
96 minutes.
96 minutes.
Man,
So
fast is good.
a lot of stuff. Yeah, a lot of stuff goes, and you try to be objective and not get attached to it, and there's some tough calls to be made.
You do the best that you can.
This was also a little bit of a later ad. Walton's intro was different in the original script, and through his character development, I know Ian and Ash felt like maybe something different for his character. So this was one of the later scenes that we did that we added.
Yeah, it was interesting because when Walton came in, I mean, hey, look, we had the whole script and the game plan and how he was going to do his character, how it was going to arc. He had it all mapped out, and we were like, okay, great. And then, fortunately, we shot, the last half of his stuff is what we shot first. And so he kind of showed this whole middle and arc to his character. And by the time we were thinking about how his character was going to be introed, it didn't quite fit with what we had written. So we had to sort of go back to the drawing board halfway through shooting and come up with something that really fit him a lot better than what we had.
And I just like that he can digest cheese and kill people at the same time.
He's
He's a rat.
he's a rat.
This was kind of interesting too, because as you said, you were shuffling some stuff around at this point, and we'd actually shot the tail end of the scene before we shot the interior stuff. So
we
it's kinda
added this
interesting.
on a
so
different day.
We went back and had to create an interior that felt congruent with what we shot outside.
Yeah. No, this
scene was shot before you guys had even finalized the two scenes we just saw.
True. Well, the night that we sort of conceptualized what we were going to do with him, we were shooting another scene, and we thought of the ideas. Right? Okay, in between shots, we were just like, okay, what if we did this? What if we did that? And we just happened to be at this other house in a neighborhood, and we thought, well, shit, if we're going to do that, we're gonna have to shoot this scene out backyard now because we're not in a neighborhood any other time. So we shot it that night.
Popped out back.
All right, we're back to.
Now you look so at home in that truck.
Yeah. I've owned a truck or two. Driven them into the ground.
How was it playing like a character as fantastical as Santa Claus? I mean, he's got a lot of legend lore around him. I mean, what was your approach heading into this thing?
Well, it was kind of on the page. It was like, it kind of showed the ordinary, like, what if he was a real guy living in the North Pole doing his trick? And he was a real person to me. And it was interesting. I thought a refreshing look at a legendary character or a myth that I just thought it was refreshing and kind of fun to play it, kind of grumpy. And life ain't all rosy for Santa. He's having a rough time. He's got hemorrhoids.
It's something we didn't even know.
Prostate problems.
That is character development right there.
Exactly.
It's been around for thousands of years.
And I think from a visual standpoint, that was one of the most fun things, too, to take this supernatural character and ground him in reality, the whole way along. One of our references was No Country for Old Men, so I referred to this movie as No Country for Snowmen the whole time.
Right, yeah. Well, it's interesting because, like, just on the page, he seemed like an old cowboy. He seemed like a cranky old cowboy. And he's got goodness in him, but he's just, I don't know. The world has kind of brutalized him. And he's a little disappointed.
He's a little calloused, right?
Yeah.
Time. And I don't remember when we saw you and the idea of having you play this character, it overtook us and it became an undeniable thing. It's like we saw you doing a Q&A for Hacksaw Ridge.
Oh, yeah.
And you had the big, beautiful beard and you were sitting up there kneading the beard and we're like, oh my gosh, he's the guy. We gotta get Mel.
And then here we are, with our...
The barmaid. Santa doing shots.
Of Johnny Durango whiskey.
I'll always regret the fact that I did not go in there and turn that bottle to face camera. It says Johnny Durango whiskey on the front of it.
Is that what it says?
Yeah,
Oh.
got it made special and.
Because he's a bit of a whiskey connoisseur, this Johnny Durango.
That is true.
Johnny Durango, man, you got to do it. Actually, it's a tequila brand, actually.
Okay.
Well, everyone's making a killing with their liquor brands these days.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm watching. Who was it? It was Ryan Reynolds and
Clooney.
And Clooney.
Yeah, Clooney and Gerber. Those guys with the
dominating.
And that, funny enough, is what my gaffer drinks. I bought him a bottle of that right before we started shooting. Is Clooney's tequila.
No kidding. That's great.
To say thank you for everything he'd been through before we started shooting.
Smart man.
When we shot at this location, it must have been 50 spigots or bar taps.
The taps.
Holy
That
smokes.
was the first thing. As soon as I saw that, I was like, you can't shoot at this bar. You wouldn't see any of the characters, and we had to have those
Surprisingly hard to get those off.
ripped out.
Yeah, it became an ordeal. It's the little things that end up biting you in the fanny. You always think, oh, we'll just get those off and
We'll
put
just
them back
pull
in.
them off and it'll be fine. They're like, no, it'll be a full day to take them off, and then a full day to get them back on.
And then we struck upon the idea of like, why don't we have them come in the night before and put them on after we shoot? And they're like, great idea, done. Just the scene, Mel.
I like this actor you had. He was like
He
a
did a
day
great
player
job,
guy.
right?
Yeah.
And he was like totally in it,
Yeah.
I always marvel at people like just come in for a day and switch it on because you can get the kind that can kill you.
Sure.
They can bury you. So it's good to have dudes like that.
I think we were pretty blessed on this one to have a lot of wonderful actors come in for those day player roles.
Canada, who knew, man?
We brought a lot in from Toronto.
Yeah, went to
actually.
Toronto.
We had to
yeah.
ship him in.
Still
Yeah.
Canada.
There was a few in Ottawa.
There's some
that were
great locals.
There were
but
some
yeah.
great locals for sure.
A lot of them came in from. I just like that scene too. It's like the first little magical moment. Like you see a little bit of magic when he knows Mike's
God,
history.
I had no idea that this was an actual drink.
Yeah, Johnny Carson. Yeah.
Now there wasn't booze in there, but you shot a couple of those with the.
Yeah.
If we get an outtake department, which I believe we're gonna get, there's a couple of them where Mel
They come out real fast.
pounds.
Boy,
They're so amazing.
hilarious.
They're really funny. It's like you got it, yeah, boom. So great.
Is that supposed to help your stomach or something? Is that the goal with that drink?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I mean,
Yeah.
it seems gross.
It might
Seems
just be
like
a
bad
self-torture type thing.
I think it's like, ugh. Johnny Carson.
Idea. Oh man, this little hamster. So we had 6 little hamsters and a hamster wrangler, and these little hamsters.
Well, it's weird, right?
So
Because
cute.
like, which ones are good at what, right? So you have to like sweet spot which one was like good at like climbing up the side of the cage.
Oh, yeah?
Or
Which
one
one
let
was that?
Walton hold him, or
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
one that would run in the wheel.
The hardest
Hold
part
it,
was
hamster.
branding those little hamsters so we knew.
which we didn't do, John.
Lots of paper clips. Heated them up real
Oh
hot.
my goodness. Deborah Grover's great. The grandma.
Yeah,
Another person
is
From
she
Toronto.
Otto? She's Toronto. You're right.
She's Toronto, yeah.
who came in.
She
and
had
just
such.
killed
She
it,
was
though.
the last 2 days of shooting, and she had such a joyous spirit, and especially because we've been shooting for almost 7 weeks now, and she came in, such energy, like right at the end, which is fabulous.
And then what did we get? Shooting days 33? 33 shooting days?
Which is fast for us. We're used to like.
Get a
Usually
couple
we
more.
hit to like
And
35.
33
34.
was it?
Yeah.
33.
It's pretty amazing, guys.
And not a single pickup.
No, amazing.
No.
And it looks great. It's like, you know, it looks like you covered the hell out of it. It's, you know, it's great.
Johnny doesn't leave us hanging.
Exactly. Exactly.
No. Did you ever need shots? You think, damn, we don't have that shot. Did you? A couple of times?
There was
maybe?
so miraculously. So one thing we like to do is like if we don't have a shot with a second camera, we just say, hey, go grab some stuff.
Yeah.
Just be shooting at all times.
Wow.
And there's a couple times that
saves
second
us.
camera
That saves us.
just picked up some stuff and saved us. And there's a shot coming up here when the military lands, and it just has a nice profile of you walking. And he just grabbed that on his own, and it honestly made the edit.
It honestly, it's not like we couldn't put it together without those second camera shots, but it makes it so much smoother at times.
You have options.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
So nice.
And
You
Ian and I
can
are
cut
pretty.
time out.
Yeah, go ahead. Ian and I are pretty meticulous. We like to storyboard even the simplest scenes, just so we have a game plan. We can present the pictures to everybody, and they know which way they're going.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
actually,
It's good to have a Bible, man.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, especially with complex sequences, geez, you gotta have a few sketches.
Do you board everything, Mel, or do you?
No, no.
Just the big ones?
It's a drag. It's just the complex, battle scenes or something like that.
Gotcha, okay.
You just want to know, at least I got this.
Right.
And I'll know if I'm in the editing room, I can make something out of it.
So when
You
you
end up with more all the
So
time.
when you get to those scenes though that are simple, I mean, you just have a concept in your head, and then when you get there, you just kind of move the pieces around. Yeah. Okay.
And then, I listen to the DP. He says, hey, what if we do this? And I go, that's a great idea. and
I mean, Johnny has those moments as well, but I guess for us, it's just like we like to kind of come in with like okay, here's the blueprint, and then when we get there, like a lot of times it changes all the time. It's
yeah,
like,
that's true. You
can't
get an
sit
idea.
Here, can't do that.
Then when you
can't
get to
do
the
that side.
location, it's different. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, look at this place. Let's do this.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like, wow.
And I find like that's the most helpful though, as far as storyboards go, to just be able to hand them to the operators and the gaffer and everybody and go, this is what we're doing and this is how we're gonna make it.
That helps a
happen.
ton because it's like, oh, it's a medium shot, okay, and like,
Because
we're
there's too
focused
many
on this and
times where
that.
crew is not as in tune as they should be, and when you can hand them something and put something in their hand.
No, but that's true. Yeah, and it really focuses everyone. So yeah, communication is. I'm not the greatest, but it's so necessary. You got to everybody has to know what you're thinking.
I'm sure it's definitely saved us a take or two because a lot of times you do take and then you're like, okay, that's not what I wanted. You got to try this. Oh, okay, and then.
I
Well,
think
it's
the
nice
toughest
because
thing is
Esham's a storyboard artist, so like he would some of the big sequences he would do those in advance, and especially if it was like a big production design sequence, it was so helpful for production design to be able to have those to say, okay, we don't have to build 360 degrees in here. We can only build this part and we'll be okay. They're not so clueless and they don't feel like they're so left to like build everything in the world when they can see it visually.
I mean, I think our barn that comes up later on in the movie only has 3 sides.
The what? The what?
It
The
does.
barn only
the
has
barn.
3 sides.
Yeah.
There's no back on that barn.
Oh yeah.
Can you talk a bit about how it was like to work with Marianne? I mean, on our side, it was fucking wonderful.
She's sweet. Yeah.
She's amazing.
So good, so classy. I mean, the British accent really makes it.
It
She's
does.
she's from London, and she didn't sort of tough it up either. I mean, she's just
Yeah.
she's in one of the burbs.
Yeah, and I was so thrilled that you were excited about that too, because she asked us, she's like, what accent we should do? Like, just do your regular accent. That's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be more international.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it seems like worldly, very worldly.
You're instantly like, how did these two meet? Like, how did these two meet? And
Right.
where did they come together? Like, was he, rolling around London? He's like, this is the girl for me.
Take the sleigh there on the weekends.
When did these two meet up?
600 AD. I mean,
Yeah, it adds like this really cool, crazy layer, and it actually plays into the prequel idea that we had, which is really cool, as in location wise,
She caught him at 2 a.m. playing with the balls of a Christmas tree. And it began. Love at first sight. She offered him a glass of milk.
Some cookies.
He ate her cookies. It was. He said,
Homemade cookies.
any
This is
gal
sad.
can bake like this. She's a keeper.
This is a fun scene, sort of just laying out the world of giving the down low on
Yeah. corporate.
Yeah,
It's
what circumstance Santa's under and how he's being sort of pushed around by the
pressure.
bureaucrats.
The military. I mean, it's hilarious.
It goes back to the script. It just grounds everything in reality. It just has such a great feel to it.
It does, and it's absurd at the same time.
Right.
It's completely absurdist. I mean, it's great.
Michelle, you were great in that scene, by the
Oh,
way.
well, thank you. That was my cameo. It's fun to get to go play for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
This is an interesting scene because you're really trying to ride that line between, the dark content that we're putting forward and keeping it grounded, yet light enough, yet dark enough, yet it's like
You have the full experience.
exactly. So you're on this like four-sided teeter-totter, trying to make this scene work.
Yeah, actually, the girl is very important in this scene.
Exactly.
Just the way she sort of reacts to stuff.
Yeah,
It's kind of-
Exactly.
She's got almost this catatonic like state. Which
Yeah.
is really,
Yeah.
she's
Traumatized, but not overly traumatized.
Yeah, right.
She's gonna be
It's kind
fine.
of like, but I didn't get any presents. I mean, she's absurdly finding logic in this guy.
No, it was funny when Walton. The scene was written a bit differently, and he was like, he got really afraid that he was gonna it was gonna be a little too dark because he
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
this guy's a creepy guy, and he's got this adolescent girl in here, and
he
she's
is.
almost
He's-
a woman. Like he's all, isn't
It's
this
totally creepy.
exactly? He's like, is this gonna be able to retain in like the same world of the movie? I was like, I think we'll be able to juggle it, man. We can do it.
Yeah.
But he did a great job. She's amazing in it.
And then,
They killed.
Johnny used the streak filter on Walter and stuff.
Yeah, the original idea was to go to anamorphic, and for some reason we weren't able to end up going anamorphic. So I threw a streak filter in there to mimic the flares of anamorphic. Just with skin. If you watch, it's only when Skinny Man is on the screen. It's the only time you see those anamorphic flares.
Wow. So is this 185? What is it?
It's 239.
Oh, yeah.
It's 4K.
Wow.
So it's,
Okay.
About that. We could use the extra income.
Oh, I'm aware.
And then what did we shoot on, Johnny?
and we shot on the Alexa Area Alexa LF, so it's large
Okay.
format. And
Okay.
the reason I did that again was in the conceptualization of it. I wanted to physically be able to put the characters closer in the North Pole to Mel. I wanted to be able to put the camera closer and use a wider angle lens for his close-ups.
Yeah.
To set him apart from Skinny Man, who I wanted a lens from further away. So
Yeah.
we always felt more distant from Skinny Man, and we felt more connected to Mel.
And then what glass do we use?
We used the Airy DNA lenses.
Okay. I think it all was
It
beautiful.
looks
Really nice combination.
We got shot 2 cameras the whole time.
We did.
And I think, Mel, we had you do this gag maybe about 10 times.
You used the first
and
one,
we used
yeah.
the first one.
Isn't that always the way it goes, though?
Leave it to the profession.
just trust your actor, all right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was one of those moments.
Those aren't even my hands. They're still not my hands.
That's a great looking sweater.
It's a great sweater. I wanted to keep it, but I don't know.
Got that
You
for
I
should
know.
have kept it.
I should have
Jennifer
stolen
would've
it.
given- Yeah.
The
Sure, it would've been gifted
The
to you.
forearms really pop in that thing.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of good things happening in that sweater.
It must have been those things. I think I was wearing.
This is one of my favorite scenes right here. There's just something about the house just feels so comfy and so warm, and I think it just really sets the tone. This house, the location we found for this place is just
It's a really
fantastic.
old house.
top to
Yeah,
bottom.
again, another late 1800s style house, and there's this incredible, like, ornate woodwork that's on the ceiling and everywhere. It's just incredible. Some guy did it by hand on his back.
And the incredible part is everything that takes
Man, he got
place.
that shit on fast.
This man knows how to talk.
It's magical.
And your second notice that he's magical.
Right.
But as far as this location goes, everything interior here played interior here. We didn't have to break it up and go to different locations. The bedroom is the bedroom, the living room is the living
Yeah.
room, kitchen's the
Although
kitchen.
the interior and the exterior are 2 separate places.
Sure.
Here's a note. I wanted to say, have you checked the list? I just wanted to say twice, but the boys wouldn't let me. I thought it was so funny.
I heard it. I heard it in the rehearsal and I loved it.
It's funny because it's a great line. It's a
Yeah.
great line, but I
But-
didn't want anybody to take him literally.
Yeah.
I didn't want them to think he actually checked it twice. We wanted them to believe, oh, he's fallen off of his game. He hasn't even checked it once.
No, you made the right call. I just thought it was a funny thing.
It would have been funny, but
got
I
a
just
big
didn't
laugh.
want I didn't want anybody to.
And the sequence is so great too. This is the first time I think we played with some of the fake snow added to the real snow.
That works, man.
Yeah, it felt good. I just
And you can eat it.
Yeah, that was a few things for Mary Ann.
It's a little starchy.
Yeah.
What is it? Potato? It's like
Potatoes,
potato.
yeah.
We added a little more in the background.
Looks
in
really
the-
good,
in post, but it looks good.
I just remember being so excited that night. That was the last shot of the first night, or the last shot of the first week, and I just remember just being so happy that night. I think I came up and gave Mel a hug after, and I don't think Mel even knew me at that point.
I said, it's not that cold.
It's just assaulted by the DP.
We just had to
First
pry
shot of the movie right here.
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
very first shot of the film, right
It's
at
so beautiful,
sunrise.
yeah.
Mel landed hot.
Look at
Like,
this. Look
here
at
we
this.
go. I remember, Bill, you walked up and you go, wow, you guys are really, like, did you think we had built some of this?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
And it was like, no, this is
I thought you
real.
put some of these barns in and stuff.
Yeah, like the little door inside the big doors and all, like, really cool.
That's what happens when you search 100 farms.
It is, man. We took
Just
weeks.
that, I
on
don't know.
that.
Just
And you wanted me to limp and be hurt, but not too much. I was
Yeah.
like, you can see me like, what's the right level here?
It's like, this is going to be a long movie.
Precarious line there.
it's just, this house looks so cozy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
The production design did such a great
Fantastic.
job with it.
No, it's beautiful.
That fireplace does not exist, so we added that in
And
there.
did you guys have did you have smoke in the room?
Yeah, we had smoke.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Yeah, Chris August is our production designer. He did a wonderful job. Every set looks really nice. He was able to give it that extra pop. And then you'll see some of the stuff he did coming up that's just wonderful as well in the factory and whatnot. Just the guy killed it.
That's a shot right there that I love. I feel like that's something that you guys could easily cut out that walk, but I just think it's really nice.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
And this is, what, hopefully here when you
Got to
see...
give the DP a couple of moments.
And Chris, this moment right here where you see that Chris has been shot, it's the first splash of gore in the movie.
Yeah.
So hopefully you know...
You don't see it.
Yeah, well,
No, it is.
I'm
in
doing
the,
a final version.
it looks
When
great
did
now.
you do the? Oh, you've done the timing.
It
Yeah.
looks
yeah.
great
Looks-
now.
looks fantastic.
We just finished it up yesterday.
Yeah, wow.
It looks fucking great.
But you know it's going to get there.
3 stops up on the bullet hole.
Exactly. Exactly. Power window.
The
That
power
sucker
window, the heck
right
out
up.
of that thing.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's the first splash of gore. It gives you the sense, I think, and warms you up to this might be going to a sort of dark and bloody place.
Yeah,
at
so when we
one
get
point.
there-
Yeah.
You've at least had the seed planted already.
And you need to plant those seeds.
Yeah.
I love the warmth of that relationship.
It's very cuddly.
They were so
Yeah.
good together. Mel
It's
and
so
Marianne were
natural
amazing together.
and
Yeah.
fun, and it's like the heart of the film.
This place, this whole set for Billy's, is an Airbnb that
an
we found there
Airbnb.
in Ottawa.
Wow.
And yeah, it was just we searched high and low, and finally when we struck upon that one, it had every single thing we wanted. It had the basement, it had all the bedrooms.
So you paid Airbnb prices?
God, I wish.
No, we struck a deal. With the
No, they were aware we were in
They're
there.
like, how many guests? 87.
And
They're
again,
like, oh yeah, no problem.
This is another one where you get Billy and you got the warm wrapping light, but if you look at the windows, you have this cold blue light coming in, just to sort of tie the two worlds together. And then here he is in his full blueness.
And this is practical snow that we threw in there. It's just interesting because obviously it'd been quite a bit later in the shoot, so the snow was all gone. So we did a trail of real snow and then bubbled it out beyond that.
Yeah.
The way the schedule was originally built, I had Billy first, Billy's world, Skinny Man's world, Chris's world, and then we had to flip it for schedule. But it's actually kind of great because it was surprising how much snow
Just
melted
shoots
by the end.
everywhere. You should have put like kids and mothers and stuff.
Oh, the targets?
Yeah. And
Dang it, that would have been so much better.
they'd be blasting kids.
Somebody called VFX.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
just,
done.
yeah, it's just all of the innocence.
Yeah.
There's like hostage situations. and
hostage,
he's
yeah.
killing the hostages. That'd be hilarious.
This guy's great.
So, to your point, like he was just so blessed to get all these amazing little day players to
He
come
was
and
a
crush
local.
it.
Yeah,
He
he's
was.
Ottawa.
Yeah, he's Ottawa.
And the dude that was supposed to do that part, like got sick or hurt his hip or something.
Yeah, he was super last minute. We were calling him at like 10 p.m.
Wasn't he in another role?
He
And
was
we
in
had
a
to
different
slide
role.
him
Yeah.
over. Yeah,
Yeah.
we had him for something else, and we slid him over into this, and he just killed
I
it.
think he was originally Chris's brother, right?
Yeah. Chris Crossbred.
This is actually a piece of coal.
I remember Walton came to set, and on the way to set, he pulled over at a gas station and got those glasses, those shooting glasses.
Oh, really?
He was so stoked.
He's like, I found these shooting glasses.
Oh yeah.
That's amazing.
Wow. So real cold. No expense was spared.
Although I will tell you it was painted because I lifted it up
Oh, yeah?
to move it and I got it on my fingers.
Was it painted? I don't-
Johnny.
You're ruining the magic.
We actually mined for that coal just before the shoot.
I don't know what they used because it took me a month to get it off.
Yeah. We had to abduct a minor.
There's a process here.
Yeah.
It's always
A coal miner, that is. I mean, just let me get that straight.
we
This location in the background, well, you can't see it now, but we have it set up as a target range, but it's actually a bomb shelter.
yeah
Cold War.
Built
during
back
the
in
Cold War in Canada.
in the 80s.
No kidding.
Yeah,
And
and it goes
The
deep.
shooting range was at
shelters.
least, 4 stories underground, all cement.
Yeah.
Race.
Yeah.
Absolutely the place you want to fire off blanks.
Man, I was having a good hair day here. Look at this.
That's great.
I remember that rotary phone was not fun to
Oh
work with.
man, that thing. Don't use rotary phones. That's the lesson we learned.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you
Well,
build a new
they
one.
take forever to dial, so
Yeah.
you can't dial
That
them
is a huge
fast.
problem.
So when you try to compress,
You don't want to have to call 911 on a rotary phone.
There's a nice little hint here on how Santa Claus has magical healing powers.
Yeah, we didn't want to. It's an interesting line you're trying to run, right? You're trying to give people enough information, but not give it away, so that when the ending comes or pops up, I mean, hopefully you've watched the movie if you're watching this commentary, or listening to this commentary. But at the ending, when you realize, he comes back and he has enough healing power that he can heal himself enough to come back from something like as much as he takes at the end. Yeah, you want to give it to him and you want to be realistic, but you don't want to give him so much that they're ahead of you. It's a fine line.
it's just, I don't know. It's fun to see the space and have the actors move through it. And Johnny, gosh, man, I really do enjoy the lighting in this scene.
Yeah, it looks pretty. It looks rich, man.
He lit the whole thing with a flashlight and a mouse card.
Amazing what you can do
Yeah.
with nothing.
It's so important to me to have really set that tone in the house, to set a difference between when you see Skinny Man's part when everything is harsh, the light is very strong. Here it's rapping and soft. And
And they got a fire flickering on them. It's just very nice.
And I like how Ruth doesn't. She gives Chris grief. You know, she doesn't just take it. She's kind of like, hey, get it together, man.
Well, I think she really is the spine of the operation. Like Chris is the front man and all the spirit and all the gusto and all the, he's doing the actual delivering, but she really is keeping him in line of here's your schedule. Here's what you need to do.
No, she's pragmatic.
Yeah, keep your spirits up. She's trying to bring him back and pull him out of this hole.
Yeah.
I think that comes with centuries of marriage.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of
Centuries.
I don't know. I liked how this blocked out. How you did the one line facing away, and then you came back to thank her for the cigars.
Yeah, a lot of great choices, man. A lot of great choices.
The loathing that the world's forgotten.
Kringle.
This is our audition for a computer ad.
Wow.
This is actually your computer, right, Ash?
Oh man.
Now the funny thing
it
is,
got beaten during one take, I think.
I'm a fan of Apple products, and we needed a computer in the set, so I gave it to him, and
luckily we got clearance on it, but
Walton aggressively attacked those keys, and a lot of them never work the same.
You can tell he's a real smoker, too.
yeah, he
Yeah,
knows
he
what
is.
he's doing on the smoking side.
Oh, gosh.
City up there, an island,
Incredibly fit.
chunk of ice floating in the fucking ocean.
A fit smoker.
A fit smoker.
Yeah.
Some people could do it, man.
I just like the detail too with the little black car in the background. Like it's reminiscent of his with the crow on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then throughout
That's interesting.
sound design sort of took that cue and put if you see
Crows.
when Skinny Man's walking around, there's just the subtlest crows in his background tracks.
The death is around. Follows this man.
There again, you can see those little streaks from the filter there that we're using for Skinny Man.
The crow.
This song that we cue in here was such a find, man.
I love it. Is this the Chinese song?
Yeah.
I love this song.
Yeah, so we were just going through and it just was like, what, it'd be really great if because we wanted to make sure to feel international, and that came through a lot of the music choices. And so we're like, oh, let's go. And we went through the biggest 80s, Chinese pop hits, and that one popped up.
This scene was actually this scene was actually a floating scene that we had. We had an idea of where we wanted it, and we ended up editing it into this little montage of him, getting himself back together after he was flustered on the phone. But it was supposed to go, I think, later.
Yeah.
And we bumped it forward because we thought it'd be fun to put these all together.
And we just thought it'd be fascinating. We like the idea that Skinny Man had a fascination with Asian culture.
Yeah. Yeah, right. He knows when to duck.
This for us was just a Christmas Story.
It's a bit of an over-the-top callback
Throwback,
to the
yeah.
Christmas Story. Yeah, callback to the
Duck.
film.
Fantastic.
And I mean,
And I remember Walton came to us with that idea. He's like, I want this scene in a restaurant.
Yeah.
And he like went out and he like learned how to do all the gestures and like learned how to.
I think Michelle
speak
taught
the
him the
language.
gesture of like how to give a
Oh, she like that.
yeah,
thank
a little
you.
Yeah.
thank you on the sign of respect when you're
Yeah.
ordering something. Yeah, that was.
Worked in China for a little bit, so it popped into handy.
And I
And
think
this
this
one
is
was
the scene that I'm talking
fantastic.
about. Isn't this
Oh,
where he
that's
turns
right.
around and like scampers up the stairs, like just like a real young kid?
Yeah, yeah.
Which I think is great because
It's awesome, yeah, because we wanted to play that he was excited about getting this, but trying to stifle his excitement for his father to give him this gift. So
it's just such a great character thing with him.
It's it's kind of the only scene in the movie where you get to learn a little bit of backstory from this kid, where you get just a sense of why he's
Just
so
enough.
troubled. Yeah.
You get a little glimpse with Deborah Grover's character in that first scene when she's like, "Bring home the blue."
Sure,
You know,
yeah.
you
A
see
lot of
this kind
pressure.
of winning and like succeed from the very beginning.
He calls his father by his first name.
yeah.
A bit of an absentee father.
I wanted to see John. Or is that something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fortunate I was hoping to see John. Yeah.
Here we go. All the tracking Walton's done. He's narrowing it down. He's closing in on Mel.
This is the show. Yeah, he's obviously utterly frustrated. We wanted to give him that, that psychotic vision wall.
Yeah,
that
he's
you
having a
see in
break.
It's such a moment of brilliant production design there.
And the music here obviously is meant to enhance that psychosis, to sort of sell that mental anguish.
Have you still got that Kubrick track on there?
We don't have that one, but the Mondos,
What?
Mike. So Mondo Boys is the composers, and Mike S and Mike G, and it did something very much inspired by that, which just came together really well.
Oh, this is different. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, they did a killer job. I mean, they saw what we wanted out of it, and they just went for it. They were like, "Oh, I get it. He's having a psychotic break, and he's
I
nuts."
like those
We're
bells.
Yeah. No, it's just been
cool.
really.
They did such a great job with the score. They killed it.
They did?
They
Yeah.
did.
Oh, man.
It's beautiful.
The Mondo Boys.
Mondo
Yeah.
Boys.
Who are these guys?
Couple of young guys.
hungry.
Ben Rosenblatt, one of our producers / he's helping us with the post. He's a post genius. He found them. He was working on a show called Snowpiercer, and they
Sent
were
demos.
put forth and sent demos for one of the episodes, and he was really impressed. And he was like,
I like these
"All right, I
guys."
got to keep these guys for something interesting." That we were that interesting, He's like, I got the perfect guys.
And honestly, like, they're relentless, tireless.
Yeah.
They don't stop until
How many of them are there?
Two.
The Mondo Boys. Is that their names?
Yeah, and Mondo Boys, Mike S and Mike G.
Mike
But
S.
they're not brothers, right?
They're not brothers.
Mondo
Yeah.
Boys.
Yeah, it's so good.
Mondo Boys. World, right? Meaning world? What?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
It could mean world.
World.
There's
Boys,
Mundo.
Right.
El Mundo.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the significance is. I'm gonna ask him next time we sit down with him.
Where are they from?
One of them's actually from the Central Valley, where we're from. I think he's from Bakersfield,
Right.
and then the other guy's from.
Can't recall.
I think they met in college in LA. I think that's what they said.
Can anything good come from Bakersfield?
Well, I don't know.
We came pretty
Okay.
close. That's up for debate, though, whether we're good or not.
I've got some old wrestling buddies that came out.
You're not good. You're excellent.
Again, like, just every little scene I get excited because of the actors involved in.
Yeah.
But Polino here. I mean,
Polino did a great job. I mean, not an easy scene to ride the line of either. He's dealing with this. He's dealing with this fantastical element. Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Santa Claus, motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's probably the line we get quoted back the most as people watch it. They're like,
Really?
Santa Claus, motherfucker.
Oh, is that what he
yeah.
says?
Yeah, that's what Walt says.
One of my favorite things is the way you guys organically weave in the comedy too, because this stuff is deathly serious, but you got him scrambling around for a pencil.
And that happened during rehearsal.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely hysterical.
Yeah, we were rehearsing it, and obviously it's just something that comes from the natural
Sure.
scene, right? His head's
Playing
pinned
with the
down,
space,
and he's
yeah.
like reaching out, and he's like searching for the pencil. I'm like, okay, we're absolutely highlighting that.
Go
Like,
for
there's
it.
no way he would let that gun off of his cheek.
To navigate that tone though is one of my favorite things. It's pretty amazing.
There it is.
There it is.
The epic find in the
And Walton just delivers that so So great.
But even the way Paulina was like, whisper yelling when he's like, "What the hell?" and he's like, "Shh," and he's all, "I can't do it." Like it's all the little choices he made were really smart and fun. Really talented guy.
I think they had a blast doing this scene.
They did. There's a couple takes where they were both like
Just
cracking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't keep it.
That's right. Well, when he was doing all the thing on the ground,
God, it's so
Walton's
funny.
like sitting there, take away, go, okay, hold on, come on, Walton, go. It's like right back into it.
It's really fun when you're working with Walton to have when he because I mean when you get into these scenes you got to get into a certain headspace and he's really like diligent about getting into the headspace and sometimes you fall out of it for one reason or another or it's funny or whatever and it's just amazing to watch him get back into it because he'll be very verbal and like aggressive on himself to get it back into the mood. One of my favorite lines here, which is an ad lib from Mel, "Son of a pup."
Oh, yeah. Oh, really?
He goes, "Son of a pup."
Oh, right.
Some of Santa's curse
my
words.
My dad used to say that.
Son of a
Did
pup.
he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
That's
amazing.
awesome.
He and I have aped so many of our dad's sayings
Oh, yeah.
along the way. So our dad was a professional photographer, and he would just say the most absurd things. to
He
get
was
people to
so
smile.
amazing when he would go out and do these weddings to get people to smile and relax in front of the camera. It was so funny.
This place photographs so ridiculously
I
well.
just love the breath too. Like Walton when he's breathing his cigarette smoke, and then every time we're out on that ranch, like you can see the
Yeah.
characters breathing.
The
It's
shield
so
of
That's
beautiful.
all real.
Yeah, no, all real.
Not a visual effect breath in there. It's us freezing.
No, you don't need that stuff. Yeah.
This is. I got to operate the blade here, so I'm sitting here on a handle, off screen, and Walton
There's a rod that you push up that metal part to pop the blade
Yeah.
up and down. You pull and push the blade, the
yeah.
rod.
towards the end of the take, Walton started messing with me. He just started hitting it real fast and out and out and out.
He has some toys.
Yeah.
We had some fun thinking about what to put in front of that. It's a little boy's cowboy outfit because of the sort of Western, themes that we were playing with in here. We wanted to call back to it a few times, and that was one of the ones we chose to do.
And we love that he brought it all black. Like everything in his suitcase would be
Everything's black.
I think that shot right there is stolen straight from The Grinch Stole Christmas.
This shot?
The
The one
Grinch
where he
Who Stole
pulls,
Christmas.
The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, where he pulls that with his shirt
I
over
didn't
his
think
head.
of that.
I mean,
I
I
love
wish
that shot.
So funny.
I wish we could say.
I wish I could take credit.
Yeah.
Johnny, well done.
I think
So good.
I think that was Walt's idea with all that hair being.
Is this the Mondo Boys too?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they're good,
He
right?
wants to put you in contact.
You let us know. They're great guys. Now, I think the last 3 tracks right now in the version that we're watching are not theirs, but we have them in now.
Yeah.
We just don't have the version up yet. It's all being QC'd right now. But, yeah, they did a stellar job. It really is great. Like
No, we're in them.
Some of the hardest, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So some of the hardest stuff score-wise to find in here was, like, you'll hear it in a minute, Mel, but the military march, like, that comes out of this.
Oh, really? Okay.
Like, we didn't want it too military, we didn't want it too this or that, and it was really a weird balance.
Just sweet spot it.
Yeah.
Mel, can you talk about this scene? Because when we sat down with you, this was one of the scenes that you were talking to us about that we just felt like you really understood the movie and the tone and like what we were after, and you were like, I just feel like if I'm up there with these guys, it's a moment, and that I'll be sort of crying trying to tell them this, and you were like, and that's what's funny about it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Sure, they're innocent.
yeah,
It's kind of having to tell him stuff and it's breaking his heart.
yeah.
I don't know.
And like, why did it come across as funny to you? You know what I mean? Because it comes across as funny to us.
They got bells on their shoes and pointed ears. Come on. But he's going to have to disappoint the elves.
Right. But it
A little
seems,
pure Gint humor there.
it seems so obvious or simple now, I think, when you're watching the movie. When we're literally sitting down with you at like a coffee shop and we're talking about it, it's awesome that you had that vision of it, that you understood what we were making, because that was one of our biggest things, is like hitting that tone, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like those elves' reaction there was the same reaction I have when I find out I can't get a techno crane on a day.
Right. Yeah. That's it.
And then obviously with the elf wide shots here, like we had maybe 50 elves, and they only fill
Yeah.
up one little aisle. So
Wow.
we had to stitch together 5 different shots. to
Oh,
make
no
the-
kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this scene is, I think we had 4 layers of elf?
There's the back, the
1,
front,
2, 3, 4.
and the 3 in the middle.
3
5.
aisles.
And then there's the 3 over at the corners. We did the
Yeah.
corners as well.
Yeah,
So you're
5.
right. There's 5.
So we did have a special effects team there helping set them and then splicing it together just to make sure we didn't have any empty spots. But it took a long time.
It did. That's one of the most frustrating things
not
about special
like
effects.
it took a
but-
longer than because you have to run the entire scene with the other set of elves and another set. It
And
just
move them and shoot.
yeah, if you're gonna do that,
Is
you
this
have to
the
learn
music?
some extra time.
Yeah, I think so. Let me see.
And throughout the duration of this engagement, these rules are for your safety. Your safety.
No, you enjoy Robert.
Number one.
Robert, the actor.
Yeah, this guy, he's great. He's funny.
Yeah, it's theirs. Yeah.
I think this grabbing all these little inserts was just running around with our fannies on fire. at
Yeah,
the
well,
end
we,
of one day.
we had to spend most of our time, obviously, on the front half of the scene because that's where most of the you had 50 extras and you had 3 of your main players, and then this back stuff with Robert marching through here, we had to shoot like our asses were on fire in like an hour, and then I think we had to come back and do pickups on another day. But luckily, we had a lot playing in this room, so we could come back and do it. But
And this was a really interesting space to light too, because you want it to feel industrial and factory-like, but at the same time, you don't want it to feel like the elves are in a sweatshop underground. So you gotta find that balance. And I think it's got a nice warmth to it, and I think it works.
I always watched the lighting in that scene because we talked about those bulbs coming
yeah.
down from the ceiling. You showed me the difference between one that flood and one that goes straight, and we're like, the straight.
Yeah, it makes such a difference.
It's so beautiful.
This is my favorite scene with Walton.
he's so funny in this, and the woman playing the
Yeah, I know.
the border girl.
She
is
makes
so
it.
funny.
That's why it's so great, the way he reacts to her. He thinks for a moment, he just wants to kill her. It's just this whole thing right here. It's like, it's funny.
I mean, that's
Next time.
Maybe on the way back
I'll kill her on the way back.
Yeah.
He's
Makes
already
me
killed
laugh.
her in his mind.
Yeah, right. It flashed. He had a whole scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
2 in the chest, 1 in the head.
it's the first person I think in 3 scenes that he hasn't killed, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
This was wild. Like we had talked about shooting the scene, and they'd forgotten to plow the road. And so on the day of, they're like they're plowing this road, and the trucks barely get down there. And we have literally 1 take to get it right, and thank goodness it all worked out.
I don't know how our military succeeds if that's how their trucks do in that kind of weather, because
They couldn't move 6 feet.
not at all.
They're the most inept vehicles.
Oh, yeah. They're horrible.
It's like, really, this is a Humvee. It's supposed to be able to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Couldn't even pull out the parking lot.
Humvees suck.
They're heavy, man. They're heavy and awkward, and I don't know how they would get down a snowy bank, and they're 4-wheel drive. It's crazy.
Yeah, so this is one of the things where we had sort of like blocked it all out, but that random B cam shot like saved our fannies
In the editing room.
In the editing room, because we had sort of like
This
one,
shot right there.
this little
Yeah.
shot right here, and it's just great to sort of introduce you and then get the tractor out of there.
It's so nice to be burning multiple cameras all the time.
Yeah.
And I think we shot 2 cameras the whole run of show, and then for the shootout stuff, we brought in a third for
camera.
2 or 3 days.
I have to say this is probably this line was improvised, right, Mel? Have
What?
you picked this up? Steroids?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
It's one
yeah.
of my favorite lines. It gets a laugh
It gets a
every
laugh
time.
every time. Yeah.
it's such a good line, man. It's such a smart ad.
But not without a little pain,
Sold the shit out of it.
It's just great. It's just such a throwaway line, but it gets that laugh every time.
This is the one building we built here.
Yeah.
Just the front.
Which
the
looks
facade.
like it's been there forever.
Right, and I will say that we had the half dome there as a hay barn.
And this is Johnny's homage to Spielberg.
Yeah, it's just sort of every time I see it, I think Indiana Jones.
Oh, really?
It wasn't supposed to be an homage, but I look at it and it feels a little more Indiana Jones than No Country for Old Men to me.
But it's got to have that element to it.
I mean, the intent was to bridge the 2 worlds, because now you're going down to his factory, which can have a little more supernaturalness to
Yeah.
it, I think.
How was it working with Eric?
I really enjoyed
Oh,
it.
he's fantastic,
Yeah.
this guy.
He and Robert are wonderful.
He's so funny.
Yeah.
I think we ran this because we originally designed this to be a wonder through the whole corridor. We ran it probably
10 times.
Yeah, and every time though, you guys would come up with new zingers on the end, which would make me laugh.
So So this factory's almost completely built. This is an empty factory, so like all the brick on the walls, all the
practically
lighting.
matches
Yeah,
up.
Johnny, you had to bring in all the lighting.
So stupid.
It was a bad war that year.
You can't blame yourself.
Blame yourself, sir.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and like you guys are just ad-libbing that
It's so
shit.
stupid.
So great though.
Makes me laugh every time.
Yeah, and then here comes the sort of third amigo on this.
Yeah, and Eric and his obvious loathing for Captain Jacobs.
I know, it's hilarious.
Yeah, Robert and Eric are both out of. You know what? Robert's actually
in
Ottawa now.
Ottawa,
He
yeah.
was Ottawa.
Wow, no
But
kidding.
he used to work in Toronto.
Yeah.
He just moved back to Ottawa.
And
so
he
lucked
sent
out.
us. He randomly sent us an audition, and he was like,
He'd been retired for a
He'd been
while.
retired for like a decade, just raising his kids and.
Yeah,
Yeah, Robert,
Jacobs?
yeah.
Captain Jacobs.
Oh, no kidding.
And
Yep.
this came to town. He's like, I think I might want to do this. Let me try. Let me send him something. So he sent us a video, and man, he crushed it.
Yeah.
No, he's perfectly, he's perfect. He's like completely deadpan.
Yeah.
But you can see something going on behind it.
Yeah. No, he's funny, yet he's
Yeah.
serious.
And Eric was doing a play at the same time.
Yeah.
And he would go back in between
drive
shooting,
during the
drive
night.
3.5 hours back to Toronto,
Oh.
do the play, and come back.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
The end of the scene with the cookie is one of my favorite things as well. When you, right there.
Mel stitched that one.
And then Robert's reaction is freaking great.
I love it. Wow.
There's magic in these cookies.
Skinny Man's car, we always like to give the baddie a cool
Sure.
vehicle.
A cool low angle,
Yeah, we just wanted something. This was the T800's car.
something kinetic.
Exactly. And a cool sidekick, a hamster.
Hamster
Right.
was very demanding.
Well, there were 6 of them. They were very demanding.
And the miracle that our car team pulled off here.
Yeah.
Josh Garvey.
Josh Garvey
Garvey.
Amazing.
had less than a shoestring budget and was able to sort of pull off this movie and then some. Like, he did such an incredible job and keeping everything running. Him and his team are incredible.
Yeah.
If you ever happen to be in the
Especially
Ottawa, Toronto area, get
Yeah, I
yourself,
mean, it
get yourself a
literally-
Josh Garvey.
I don't think anybody else could have pulled it off.
No.
Well, especially you have the added temperature challenges of it being freezing and then trying to start these vehicles up.
Old cars in the dead of
Old
winter. Who would have
cars,
thought?
Who would've thought that was gonna be tough?
Don't do it.
Love this moment that Walt looks down at the snake.
He's so let
It's almost
down.
like his, but it's like
That
his
she's
true
reading him.
self, and he thinks he's a hamster. In a way, like his underbelly. But he was like originally a hamster, and now he's turned into a snake. I don't know, just like the character of him.
This one's a little over the top visually for me, but I did it on purpose. I wanted him to draw her out of the light and take him back to that
Oh, wow.
thing where we change the color temperature and it gets a lot more menacing.
The music.
Yeah, that music
Those Mondos, man, they're good.
It's funny.
to that hamster running gallantly on that wheel.
I love the music.
It's so
great.
good, man. It's
It makes
so
it
good.
really.
It's so good.
This was one of the first days of shooting too. I think maybe the first day.
day one.
Day one. Of
This
course,
scene-
animals on the first day.
Yeah.
A couple of reindeers.
Graining the imaginary reindeer.
We had two.
We had 2 reindeer.
And we just kept flipping them side to side and back and corner and everywhere else you could see. And all you see is reindeer now. But
Yeah, right. It's funny, isn't it?
Interesting reindeer fact. Only 2.
I thought we had 3. Okay.
No,
Are
only
you
2.
serious?
Yeah, I
You
forgot
didn't even know how many we
had.
we even
shot
tricked
it.
the DPs.
I was concentrating on shooting the movie.
Everywhere Johnny looked, there were deer. He thought it was good.
But reindeer actually lose their horns in the winter. Remember when he was
Yes.
on that? So it was very hard to find a reindeer with horns.
I can't remember why we lucked out and this guy had one with horns, but you'll see the other one in the pin. It does not
Does
have
not
horns.
have horns, and
There it is, head out.
Because
Yeah,
the
there
duct
we go.
tape wouldn't hold it no matter
the
how
duct
much
tape
you
we
tried.
tried.
And then getting that reindeer to nip at him was
Yeah, that
not
was
easy
not
either.
easy
No,
either.
like he was like had to get some beet meal or something.
Well, I'll say that the funniest thing is while we're trying to figure that out, it seemed to take, the easiest solution was it, right? Hold a little bit of meal out and he reached on.
And I think the actor held some in his hand,
Yep.
and the
Right.
deer came up
Yeah.
to nibble at it.
Yeah.
And I think we had to do that fairly early on in the scene too, before Mel gave him too
Yes,
much, and they
exactly.
weren't hungry anymore because otherwise they
Yeah.
wouldn't have gone for the hand.
That's exactly right.
No, I think that facial hair came together. It's just like just a touch of Santa, as you said.
There's a very good chance you're going to end up right back here next year.
I actually tried to match my beard throughout the movie. I tried to grow it to look just like Mel's.
Success. Yeah, that facial hair really came together here, Mel.
Oh, yeah.
It did seem like you got rid of it in a hurry, though, after we called cut on that last day.
Yeah, cut.
Oh, yeah. There were things living in there. Walton's hamsters wanted to live.
This
Oh,
montage.
I love this montage.
We
It makes me happy in
jumped
life.
in the car with Walton, probably shot about 20 hours of footage. I don't know. It was a lot. About 10 hours of footage. And we just went around. Guy had Walton doing a bunch of crazy things.
That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Brushing his teeth.
Walton's down for it in the best way.
Yeah.
I like these the little moments that sometimes are hard to schedule in. I think bring so much like texture and life to it as they go. That was a really small skeleton shoot that went out and did those.
And thank you for making those possible, right?
Oh.
Like, you fight.
Of course.
Michelle's back there fighting to make sure that we get the little details that we find so important in the movie.
And for us, that's the most important thing, right? I mean, I don't know, it could be seen as extraneous bringing your own producer on in a way if you're not thinking about it the right way. But for us, if you don't have your producer there fighting for days, there were discussions of, hey, we're gonna have to cut a day or two or whatever, and Michelle's like, no, here's how we solve the problem. I mean, it's like, if you don't have that person back there with your film and you in their minds, in their best interests, then it's really hard to get what you need sometimes. Because, look, making movies is really tough, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of cash, and a lot of times those don't go together. So when you start running out of cash for certain reasons because you had to do this, and this, a day's got to come off, or a half a day's got to come off. But
Which is the easiest thing to do
Which is
instead
the
of saying,
easiest
hey,
thing,
here's
yeah.
a different way to go about that. Here's how we can approach it in a different way.
And it's not that people want to make your movie tougher on you. It's basically just that they're doing 25 things in the middle of the movie and they can't figure out at that moment. They don't have enough time to sit down and think about, oh, how do I save a day? Whereas Michelle just makes the time. She's like, nope, I got to find a way to save this day because I know we're going to lose an important scene.
Or a little textural moment. I call
Right.
them the little texture moments
Right.
of like something that's
even
not
like the
necessary,
sleeping cop,
but
like something
yeah,
like that. That
the
seems a
sleeping
little-
cop. I was so excited we finally got the sleeping cop in one day.
Something that seems
It
unnecessary.
was like the third time the charm. Like
Right.
we
We
tried
tried
for him
three
three
times to get
times
that
and we
shot.
didn't get him in, and we finally got him in.
But the cool thing about like something like the sleeping cop is, as an audience member, it kind of keeps you on guard or off guard of what. Oh shit! I thought that cop was going to pull him over. Oh wow! I thought that was going to go somewhere, and it's a red herring.
Yeah, I love stuff like that.
Yeah, you don't want to lose too many of those, or you just start. It starts kind of becoming. It could become predictable at times.
Man, all the sugar.
How much of this did you eat, Ian?
Ooh.
I wanted to
clean it
stick
up?
my face in the bowl, but
Ian used to be a sugar. Used to
had it.
love sugar.
I do love sugar.
Yeah, me
but
too. Yeah.
This is so.
Yeah.
This
Ugh,
scene makes
so
my
bad for
teeth
you.
hurt. Ugh. Although
Man,
our
these
kids were
extras.
super excited when they watched the scene and saw how much candy was there in
And
case.
this is one of those scenes that's like, is it forcing the plot forward? No, but it's some details. It's fun details. Hopefully, it's
Yeah,
entertaining
look at
for
that guy.
you.
Spooning on the gummy bears.
I will say the one thing it does do is it pushes their relationship.
There.
Roberts and Elf 7.
He's
Eric's.
talking about diet, right?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
malnutrition.
Nutrition.
And they sort of come together though, where he's like, "Wow, that's actually, oh, what like they kind of have an understanding here." It's like,
You get a neat mutual respect between the two
right,
of them.
and then it leads later to when he martyrs himself for the elves.
And Eric came up with that sprinkles in the cup
so
thing.
funny.
So good.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. Eric and
the,
Robert are
it's
so
the
funny.
end line. It's a giving that keeps him young. That's what's so important in that scene. It like sugarcoats it, pun intended, and then gets like the heart of Chris's.
And Mel
And you see him
beat the shit out of
exercising
this
still.
bag.
Yeah.
Thank God for you took a lot of the sand out of it.
You
Maybe-
knocked the hell out
Oh
of
my
this
gosh,
bag.
Mel, you were killing this. This was one of your first days. I was like, holy crap.
Works
It's
your
so
shoulders.
intense in the best way.
Now, go ahead. Now, have you taken a lot of boxing gloves off? Because you bit the strap here. It was a
Yeah.
good shot. It was interesting.
Well, that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
She was
we
boxed
yeah.
in.
I think the last time I was in a boxing ring, I was 15.
Wow.
Used to go to the police boys club and get punched. I wasn't particularly gifted.
Well, you couldn't tell from that.
Exactly.
Man, the most hilarious part though is when we get to that fourth picture that they don't see.
The third one, yeah.
The third picture, it was just that girl sitting on the couch, and
Yeah.
you're all, the couch sitter.
Really getting worked up now.
Yeah. Very emotional. It was the cushions, I think. The cushions.
Oh. Santa doing
Johnny,
his
remember we blocked these out for you? You were like, just don't shoot me into the exterior all
And
day.
you did an excellent job. That was quite a split in exposure there. Not a lot of places to light from.
Oh, man. I just love this set.
It's so cozy.
Yeah.
And that's all what it was. I mean,
A great house.
We walked in there and that stove was sitting there and we're like, we have to get this. How do we make it happen?
I love this relationship so much, man. You can just see it in their eyes. The like love, the depth, and like the lack of ability to take any shit from each other. You know, like there's this great like mutual respect and like love for each other. It's fucking great.
And you guys had this is another scene where you had a lot of, like, for me,
Great ad lib.
a lot of great ad libs at the end.
great.
Like, just come up with some funny little buttons out.
And those moments are what really make them feel like a real couple, you know?
Absolutely.
Like you're just like, oh yeah, that's how people fucking interact with each other.
I like it. It shows Santa has needs as well.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. You want some nookie?
What was the one he said? Can I get a cookie? Some nookie and a cookie?
There were so many good ones. It was literally like, okay, which one do we want to pick?
Chases her around throughout the whole movie. Later on with the quilt.
I was talking to Marianne, and we were talking about like what drew her to the role, and it was interesting. She said she hadn't played this type of role, the cookie making, warm, motherly type, which I thought was so interesting because she is, you know, so warm.
Yeah, she's a tough gal.
Yeah,
She's usually
yeah.
a
Plays
more
tough gal.
badass.
Yeah, she's more the badass.
Alpha.
So, yeah. It was a little bit of a switch up for her.
Oh, man, she loved, like, getting on all those, like, knits. We're like, what do you think about knits for your costume? She's like, oh yeah, pile them on. She's like, wrap herself in so many knits.
So great.
Well, she's badass in this too.
She is
badass, but it's
She
like that
delivers the
warm.
coup de grace.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. This was a fun one just on the Mondo side. Is they just, you know, the thing starts with a creak from the door, and it builds into this very menacing entrance.
You know this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, he did a great job.
She's got such a perfect look too.
Our Herman, the mailman.
Yeah.
And what was this building really? Because I know it
Yeah,
wasn't a post office.
Paper factory. They
An
make
old paper
It's a factory or an old factory of some sort. And this was a gift shop that we repurposed
Which is
into
amazing.
the post office, and then we added all the PO boxes, back there.
Production design magic on this
It's a
one.
real
Chris did a
authentic
great
feel
job
to
on
it, though.
this.
Yeah, but all the woodwork and stuff is what attracted us to us, and the windows. That was all there.
Yeah,
And it's dark outside.
It was like a payroll office for an old mill
That's what it is. Yep.
from the late 1800s.
So they had a safe in there and a bunch of really cool
It's
stuff.
now a museum, but it still has the same framework. So it has those like little windows you walk up to and get your paycheck.
And this is one where we did, I think, 3 separate scenes.
Yeah,
and
all
it was
the post office scenes.
all in one day.
Yeah.
So some of it is shot day for night.
And how's that,
And then
Johnny? When I
night for
remember
day.
when we get in there, and it's such a confined space. It really is confined, but it doesn't look that confined.
No.
But it's just a lane, and Johnny's like, okay, this will be fun to make look different 3 times.
And I think it was really important to make it look different. Like when Walton's over at the boxes, he's the only one who's ever in the scene like completely underexposed.
Yeah, he's such a sensational actor. Just a great look.
Palm Beach double time.
Oh, hold on a sec while I help this gentleman.
And you just don't know, is Walton, like, when Walton's gonna pop off and do in people.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, is he gonna wax them? Nope.
Say, does Chris still drive that green Chevy?
Red Ford.
Right.
They get a pass.
He's just getting a little information.
Yeah, he's just chumming for information.
Boris Karloff here.
Another great local out of Ottawa.
Oh, man.
And then we had this surplus store.
Walt was
that we
improving this, right?
reappropriated.
With
Oh
all the
yeah, he
codes.
improv this whole line. Yeah.
The lines are great here.
He's like, I got this. Just cut me loose in there. We're like, all right.
This store was actually pretty much like this, right? They dressed a little bit, but
I think they pulled stuff out. 'cause
Yeah,
it was
all the
packed.
stuff is there. Yeah, it's pretty full.
But we had to sort of we had to put it all in one area.
And then obviously build the coat display.
It was a little more sectioned.
And we just love putting all the animals around it. Just the absurdity of it all.
And this song,
yeah.
is by Peter Donovan, and he did such a great job. And we love that it's this country song that's sort of, and it's sung by Travis Howard, another really good friend of ours. We love that it's like about a
Peacocking woman.
Peacocking woman, you know, talking about this woman going out in her jeans. It's freaking hysterical. Because, you know, Walton's character likes the finer things.
But there was a lot of talk about Walton's character having like being the consumer, like the visual of right, like in the theme.
Yep.
And that coming up with the name for Billy and his phone was something that happened while there. And
while we were shooting, we're like, what would he say? What would his name come up as? And they're like, oh, he'd call him like a little shit.
I think it was when Props was asking us what should come
to put
up
on the phone. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chance just killed this scene. We had a very small window, and he
Man.
just threw down.
Just experienced actors. I mean, this kid's been acting for probably 5 or 6 years at this point.
And he got thrown into, like Michelle said, some tight situations where he didn't have a lot of time.
You left it on that longer, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
You know, we certainly did. We certainly did. We took your advice on that. Yeah.
Just like half a second or something.
Yep.
It's just funny because you really register the axe on the guy's head.
The dog's attacking him.
Yeah.
You were absolutely right. It was like, oh, we were cheating ourselves with that one.
Yeah.
But I think Chance had 45 minutes to do his side of this when we shot it. And he was just the kid's so dialed. Like he comes in prepared.
I think we had to light and shoot in that, right? Because
Yeah.
with minors, you have such a small
Exactly.
window, and there's no wiggle room on it.
Yeah.
But he just.
And what we learned was that a 12-year-old has a certain limited amount of time, but
Since he was like 8 months older, you know.
but like
he-
10 has even less.
Yeah.
So you know, we had to round up to even pull off the movie.
Yeah.
But it all happens for a reason.
Frick.
And Johnny, any challenges putting this night stuff together here?
It was interesting because on that one we did it all ground level lighting. There was no contours, nothing like that. We kept it real streamlined.
This song's probably changed since you listened to it.
What is it?
Different. It's a new one. I think it's Flying High now.
And this just makes me happy every time I see it.
I know,
Yeah.
me too, man.
It's nice to see Chris in such a good place for once in the movie.
Yeah, it's good to see him coming back, you know?
I heard those cookies were delicious.
He ate enough of them.
Kind of a goofy song.
Yeah. That's the one that's like the Eagles got nothing on me. It's great. So great. And this song, I think, is by Travis Howard as well. Out of Country. Another great song by a friend of ours.
And Johnny usually attacks bars with a little more tenacity, a little more.
Very differently. I mean, everything I've done with you guys in the past has been very colorful. Lots of reds and oranges. And if you look at Small Town Crime or Waffle Street or Lost on Purpose, this is the first one I went straight white, but it just felt really nice for the space.
Yeah, and for the theme, like, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, Mel lives in a very, like, grounded place, so we couldn't go too wild in there.
Johnny, what movie is this collaborating together now? Is this 4?
This is 4.
Four.
4 for features, and amongst many other
Yeah, we
things.
can't even count the other ones.
Yeah, you can't count all that other
It's
stuff.
just
It's a
feature
lot.
4.
And Michelle?
I missed Waffle Street in the middle. I'm in it, but I didn't produce on that, so I would have ran 3.
3 and
And
several.
a TV show.
Yeah.
But
and
we
a
lost
TV
the TV show, so 4 in a TV
Yeah.
series.
Here we go.
All together.
There we
It's so
go.
cool to work all together because you have the shorthand and you know what information people want to know, and there's, I don't know, it's fun. It's like summer
We don't
camp.
even talk to each other anymore during the movies.
Telepathy.
This
Hand
is one of my favorite scenes.
Yep.
There's something about this exchange. I mean, the whole scene's great, but this exchange right here that gets me laughing every time. An out of towner.
Suit, government type. Couldn't
Couldn't find his ass in the seat of his pants. Yep, I'm working with him. So great, man.
And this is obviously hopefully set up with the guys that come to visit Chris in the barn that they're looking for him.
Yeah.
So he.
There's just such a neat shift in tone in his attitude.
Yeah.
in the
Yes.
scene. And then
But
and
even the mailman.
Herman's reaction to this
Yeah,
change
that he even gets
is
it. Yeah, you're like,
fantastic.
holy shit.
And if he only knew someone was trying to kill him.
Yeah, it's funny.
He gets lucky a couple times and then leads him back to his house.
And this whole downtown section is pretty cool, but this is the most rustic part of it that we shot here with that brick building.
Yeah, we wanted that red brick feel, something that felt kind of, I don't know, Alaska, Midwestern, you know.
Because what we had found when we were scouting, though, a lot of the towns in recent years had just refurbished everything.
Yeah.
They redid all their downtowns, so you couldn't find an authentic downtown, and there was a few places that really worked.
Yeah, we went to 10 different little cities around
so
the area.
many.
Yeah, it was a lot.
The weather was crazy. I kept telling Ian that I was meditating to the weather gods because this was really snowy and it connected to something else really snowy that connected because this was all shot out of sequence.
Yeah.
And every time we'd have snow, I was like, yes.
It did feel like the weather gods were conspiring with us many times.
I'll take credit.
It happens now and then.
Yeah. I mean,
Mostly
Not
it
really,
doesn't.
but I'm gonna pretend like I'll take credit.
we had to do about a dozen snow, like,
There
additions,
were, but
it's
like
not
this
as much as
scene
bad as it
connected
could've
to
been.
another scene when Walt looks out at the farm. It's a completely different day, and that day was super snowy. It's just
Yeah.
kind of like a lot of the connective tissues. Like we didn't have to add snow to this whole sequence. This was a different day,
Yeah.
or maybe it cuts
So-
in later.
Yeah, so at the very end when he this
This is a different
different
day, but it's snowy that day too, which is great. Sometimes it made it hard to get up to the locations in that much snow, but once we were there, it was amazing.
And that weather can be a giant challenge. because
Challenge
we
to
have-
work in.
We have a 4-day shootout at the end.
Yeah.
And I got to try to keep continuity between bright
Well,
sunlight.
we actually shot this
and-
twice.
Yeah.
So we
It
shot
was-
it once clear, and then it started snowing, and so
While
we
we
shot
were
it
out
again.
there.
Yeah.
It started
Yeah.
snowing while we were out there. We're like, this is gonna go all day.
gotta
We
get it,
better,
yeah.
we better get it the other way too.
But yeah, just trying
And
to
at
keep
the
it-
end of the day, you chop it all together, and it doesn't matter.
It's amazing what you can
It
get away
doesn't.
with.
It is amazing weather.
There's always one person it matters to. That's the guy on the camera.
Yeah, well,
That's what
true.
they're watching. We figure.
Yeah, but you
Bigger
know,
problems.
it's
In
crazy.
the end, no,
Get
not
away
the
with murder.
audience.
It is crazy.
There,
when
there
you
was
do
some
it.
of the like shots we were really self-conscious about with the weather matching at the end, and we would show it to people, and they're like, "I think it's good," and we're like, "Are you serious?" Like before we did any of the
I mean,
weather
look, there's a
things.
ton of treatment on it now, and it's wonderful.
But I mean, that's how you tell that you're telling a good story, because if people clue
Yeah.
into the visuals, then they're not with the story. So congratulations on telling a good story.
Yeah.
I'm just glad they're not paying attention to your visuals, Johnny. You don't clue into the visuals.
Everything's going right for Billy.
He's feeling
Yeah,
good.
this is another scene that could have gone earlier. It was moving around. It felt like it was kind of the only slot that it fit in, and it gives this feeling of everything's going right for Billy, and Skinny Man's about ready to head in to do some serious damage. So
There's just something about this gearing up that is
Oh,
just
yeah.
so great.
Reminds me of the scene in Small Town when Cliffy's gearing up too.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of a similar moment.
God, now I feel really repetitive.
But in a
little
great like
motif going through our
callback.
work.
No, but it's like it's such a fun moment.
At least there's two of them. in
They both
Small
have
Town.
great
Cracking
cars.
jokes.
They both have great weapons. You know.
And we had this coat built for the show, and it was hilarious because like it was two coats married together, the same thing. They just made it longer, but it made like it went from 4 pockets to like 8. And I remember when the phone started ringing, Walton's like, "Oh, this is amazing! Like I have all these pockets I could be in."
Well, he needs
Yeah.
all his pockets for everything he pulls out.
Jennifer Stroud on costume, yeah, with that coat. This is our friend Jemuel Morris. Come to do it.
He's like a rabbit's foot. Got to get him in all of them.
Great.
Yep. Great to see ours.
He's a talented guy, man. He was really cool to come out for this.
Now you get a 50-point bonus if you saw Skinny Man in the background.
In this next shot, right?
Yeah,
Coming
the
up.
next shot.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Right
Now.
Let's see if we can find him. It's like, where's Waldo? Just popped up.
Yeah. I feel like the focus rack should lead you.
Where's
there.
Walton?
Yeah,
Good,
and
yeah.
where's Walt?
Where's Walton?
And we did this one twice, Mel. Once sunny,
Oh, yeah.
once snowing.
Snow also added challenges just in the crew. Like, what did the AD tell us? We got to plan on 40% slower moving or something like that, just because everyone has to walk
Yeah.
slower
And it's
and
no
load.
joke,
And
yeah.
no, it's
Just getting stuff set up in a safe way to
Yeah.
move.
This little glove spin.
Oh yeah.
It's so good.
and the little look. Mel, what was your favorite like scene to do, or like your
Oh.
favorite like section of this that you were excited to do, or that like while you were doing it, you're like, oh, this one's really fun.
I don't know. It was all kind of, you know. I don't think I had a favorite. I just kind of relished all his little moments with Mrs. Claus. But I think little moments like this are fun, you know, where he's just
Yeah.
behaviorally.
Yeah, this little blanket thing. Ian and Esham's mom crocheted that knitted.
That's
what is
actually
the
her.
word?
That's actually her
it's
blanket. Yeah.
amazing.
It's really
We
heavy.
had it shipped in from California because we couldn't find one in Ottawa.
Do your parents have a much bigger bed?
They must.
That thing's just massive, dude.
Yeah.
It's,
This is another one of my favorite scenes. This is such a great scene between you two.
It's just there's such an honestness, such a
I
sweetness
know.
between the two characters every time they're on screen together.
So absorbed.
No, it really reads a lot of truth here.
There's been a lot of talk about quitting, and well, that's not who we are, or it's not who I am.
And I guess the toughest part about this scene is just to figure out the break that you have in the middle of it with Captain Jacobs, where you kind of ruin their momentum. But that's kind of the part of the point of the scene,
What's that?
where
get
Jacobs
interrupted.
calls you right in the middle of this scene.
All right.
And then you kind of have to come back and
Yeah.
win her back to get her
Oh,
in
yeah.
the sack, you know? Gotta re-romanticize.
That look.
There's
So great.
you still have that such a great change, just a happiness in him that
Yeah.
hasn't been in the whole
I
movie.
know.
It's just Even in the middle of being interrupted.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, maybe I just want to embrace my wife.
Oh, is that all?
Then we go from one of your happiest moments to dead bodies.
Yeah, I do. But
And that was kind of what we were trying to do here, is put Chris in his, he's back, and
he's found his mojo.
just as the
just in time,
lion has entered the gates, after you.
Sure. Yeah, get right to it.
These poor folks are just laying in ice, laying on ice.
There's a lot of poor people who had to lay in snow for quite some
Mel
time.
had to lay in
included.
snow for quite
Yeah,
some time.
that's very true.
He probably gets the award for the longest laying in the snow.
Who,
Yeah.
Walton?
No,
No,
you
you
do.
do.
Really?
In that end scene.
Oh, that.
So
Yeah.
this barn right here, we had a different idea. We were gonna match it be in theme with the other structures, but the price tag was astronomical to do that. So we had the half dome there for the hay barn. We're like, what if we just built around that?
Yeah.
And that's ultimately necessity.
Saved
to
us a
get.
lot.
Turned it into a Quonset hut,
Yeah.
which is really military
Really.
style anyway.
Yeah.
Which
I
is-
thought it was cool.
Yeah.
It was a great idea. And then we learned right there that you can only dig 4 feet into the ground.
Because it's frozen?
No, in like a
As a rule?
cinema
Set.
rules in
On a set.
Canada.
Oh.
For safety.
So you can only dig 4 feet in the ground, so we had to build a
Wow.
bracket over the
4
top.
foot top that went up.
We also learned that you can't dig all the time because it is frozen. I remember
That's
that
true, yeah.
happening.
Yeah, it's just so many things you don't even think about coming from California
Yeah.
encountering extreme weather.
Or even I'm from Wisconsin and I just haven't debated about will septic tanks freeze in, sub-zero temperatures.
That's
Like I said, you and I should have known better.
Yeah, Johnny's from Chicago. We should have known. The dichotomy here of their happiness.
yeah, it's a good juxtaposition, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and now you have the skinny man unleashed inside. He's just causing
Inside.
chaos.
And these are, again, just some great production design moments with mixed with practical building that we were actually shooting in. So
And we got an old chocolate factory. And so some of the wall, the door's fake, but the walls are real, and it's just
this whole pipe maze was built in Michigan,
yeah.
which is amazing.
Yeah, this really snaps along now, all this. Remember how it...
Oh yeah.
Mel, thank you for coming in and
Oh,
giving us your insight. Really helped
Yeah.
out.
No, we had a great day where Mel came in and we were like, what would you do to knock some air out of this? And man, he just came in.
We knocked some
Like
air
all the
out.
way through, all the way through. Just little,
we cut
little
like
fixes.
I think we cut like 5 or 6 moments out together. It was amazing.
Well, 5 or 6 minutes.
I'm sorry, yeah, sorry, it was 5 or 6 minutes. I'm sorry. Did I say moments? Minutes. Yeah, minutes out. It was.
But nothing, no scenes. It was just little trims, little pieces.
5 or 6
yeah.
minutes matters.
Yeah. 5 or 6 minutes matters to every time.
Yeah, it feels a little. Yeah, he zipped it right up, man. It was great.
Just take it easy, little fella. Okay?
This is funny. Take it easy. Little...
This actor was so great. He was in his trailer with the device, like trying to just master all the movements.
Because we were like, we're gonna speed it up. He's like, I don't think you'll need to speed it up. And we're like, what? And he came out and did it in like 2 seconds flat or a second flat.
If I remember correctly, we actually shot a plate. We shot a couple things in case we needed
we had to,
ramp
yeah.
it, and he just kills it.
Yeah.
But if you look here too, visually to tie everything together, you'll see those streaks again, which had never been in the factory before. Those streaks are new when Skinny Man gets there. It's just a visual element that I wanted him to bring everywhere he went.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He contaminates the environment.
Yeah. It also, gives you a little more visually in the shootout.
Pressure, potential.
Get a little hero moment for Jacobs before he martyrs himself.
He cares about his men.
Exactly, man. This is a great little moment that
I think Walton
actually suggested.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, what if I came up on this elf just to kind of give everybody a...
to remind me, like, I'm on this mission.
I'm on this mission for Chris. I'm on this mission for Chris.
And I think we actually talked about the scene with the elves too. We wanted to just show the danger and
Yeah.
sort of it in the way things get locked down and stuff. It almost feels like a school shooting, which
Sure.
is really frightening in itself. You got these little defenseless elves.
Yeah. Unarmed, unwilling to pick up a rifle. Stuck with some
Sounds like Hacksaw Ridge.
giants. That's true. Very true.
And for us with the gun stuff, like these are all, we want the blanks. You get a quarter, you get a choice between quarter, full, half, or whatever, and we always are like full. I mean, honestly,
I want that fire belching out the front. It's just so much more fun. to look at.
And I don't know. I think it helps performance. It helps people get into it.
You get more kick.
It's certainly louder.
You sell a lot of earplugs.
This was an interesting choice we made too. We actually went with real smoke grenades here instead of just doing all the smoke and visual effects, where you could have a little more control over it. But it worked incredibly well.
Yeah.
Walton's accuracy on that first throw blows my mind. It rolls right past camera.
And we had a good team. Mike, out of
It was
Toronto.
Mike,
Yeah, Mike and
and
Mike's.
A lot of
Three
Mikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was three
Mike,
Mikes.
and Mike.
3 guys named Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
They
They
killed
did
it.
the practical stuff and they just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
it's one of these things though. On the camera end, we had to be ready to go like that, because as soon as that smoke started drifting, it took probably 30 minutes to empty that room
Yeah.
of smoke and then refill it up with the atmosphere to the level. Where
Mike
it was.
Innanen. His name is Mike Innanen.
Thank you, there it is. Now, Mel, I've never seen a person put on their jeans faster.
No. Yeah.
And even how you sold the weapon feeding shells.
Yeah, this gun doesn't
Little
load
scars.
as you think it does. It actually loads with little cannonballs,
Yeah,
maybe
right.
little balls, and
Yeah.
you put gunpowder in them. It's such an old gun.
Yeah.
But we didn't, we had to sell it as if he was loading cartridges. So Mel
Sure.
just pops it up and starts shoving them
Mel,
down.
the
What's
magician,
happening when it's
sleight of
not.
hand.
That seems to work. Like this nuclear door.
No elves were harmed in the making of this movie.
No.
The stunt elves took some hits, but that's their job, really.
I gotta imagine that it's not easy to run in those shoes.
No.
Dude, they were slipping all over the place.
Yeah, because they were slick.
Captain
I
Jacobs.
think it just adds to the action though.
Like these
It gave
stunt
like a
elves.
sort of
Like
defined
this?
walk.
This young
row,
lady was an
this is
animal.
amazing.
She took
was
so many
incredible.
throws on top of her head. She was just tough as nails.
Oh, yeah. Stunt elf.
Yeah. She was an animal. So tough. So great to work with.
So you guys try to get as much as you can practically, right? I feel like that's always the mantra.
And the other guy was great too. He just didn't have to get thrown on his head 8 times.
We do. We always try to put as much as we can, get it on the day. We hate having to say fix it in post.
Yeah.
That really doesn't exist for us as much as possible. So it's just only if we absolutely have to.
Even this
This is
explosion.
one of those ones you gotta get right, because we're only gonna blow that once.
Yeah.
So you have to enhance that, yeah.
Got a little bit on there. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it looks great
This
now.
is one of my favorite shots in the whole sequence, when Walt steps into that shot.
So this all has snow
It's your
on it
classic.
now.
I feel like it's sort of your Sergio
watch it.
Leone,
Oh,
man
yeah.
with no name kind of.
And this whole shootout matches now. It looks so great.
I love how Mel's teed up perfectly on the house.
Yeah, it's
standing right where-
Well, you told me where to stand. It wasn't.
But we didn't tell
No
you how to
accident.
stand.
just the abandoned car, the landscape is just so perfect for this shootout.
That was sort of fun designing all the obstacles to be out there.
Yeah, that's great.
And these were some of the funnest lines I remember us writing and jonesing to hear someone say, and just to hear you say them, you and Walton just slaying these lines. It was just we were just giddy like kids in a candy store, man.
He's great.
This was the only goddamn thing you ever got.
He's about to cry.
Yeah, so awesome.
And because of the space too, they had to be yelling back and forth, and there was something just kind of magical about that. Just hearing them shout the lines across the field as you'd have to.
After all the times that I wrote you.
And that car was something that came along with the collaboration with Walton in the story. He wanted
the little toy car.
a token.
Yeah, it started off with us talking about a letter that he hadn't mailed, or he did mail, and then we just were like, it feels a little weird that he'd still have this letter, and then we were just talking about something connected to Santa, and we were like, maybe he got a toy once before he sort of went bad enough to not get any, and he's sort of he's holding on to it as a prized possession, but also very begrudgingly because he never got any more, and he kind of feels like that he ruined his life because
of the hurt in Chris's eyes. It's like there's a limit to his power. Oh.
Yeah, it's painful to
It's painful
admit,
on both,
right?
but it's painful for both,
Yeah, he couldn't do anything.
And so I think essentially from Walton walking up to the wide shot, squared off with Mel, to Marianne being shot at, running into the house, we had 4 days to shoot all of that material.
4 very different.
Yeah. And it snowed the first.
Negative 36 degrees.
It snowed the first day.
Yeah.
Snowed some of the second day.
And then it went totally sunny.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll see the morph to sun in the second half of the fight.
But it's timed out when the snow ends.
It's very subdued now. It's a gradual change. And
Oddly enough, the sunny stuff was colder.
Yeah, that's what they told
Wow.
us.
Yeah.
But Mel, I have to say, I mean, you and Walt both, your gloves don't have fingers on
proper.
it. And you were such
like you're crawling
a stallion through this whole
Right.
thing. You know, it did make the crew where it's like, we have all this stuff on. If Mel and Walt aren't complaining, like it raised the bar.
And
on,
beyond
like,
that,
No, I had long
toughness.
johns on, believe me.
I know,
Right.
but like you were
That's
out
not
there,
enough.
like you were
That's not
bundled.
enough.
Like, look, your jacket's open. I mean,
You
it
have
was
snow
really
all over you
cold.
and
You're
inside your
rolling
clothes.
in it.
And that's not. And here's the thing: like when we're shooting, like we would, and of course it's kind of back and forth here. And we're shooting with Walton for a while. We're shooting with Mel for a while. And I just remember turning around at one point. We're like, oh Mel, okay Mel, you can go chill. You're good for a little while. And then we turn around and you're standing right behind us. And we're like, oh whoa, hey, you were cut. And you're like, no, like you guys are out here. I'm gonna be out here too. And you stuck it out with us out there the whole time, just as like a show of solidarity to the crew and everything. It was incredible. Like negative 36, you're dressed for like shit, and you're standing out there with us.
I had those hot shot things in my. Those are lifesavers.
I will say, Ash pulled his hands out to screw with the storyboards though,
Yeah.
and like our head grip was just like, he was just like, you have 8 minutes or you're gonna get frostbite.
I love that shot of Mel head on running towards the camera. It's like full
Got the
speed
wheels.
ripping
He's
through
still
that
got it,
snow.
man. He's
I
Like,
got
still
some
got it.
wheels, yeah.
oh man,
It's like a jackrabbit.
Through the snow.
yeah,
Like a
that's not easy.
jackrabbit.
Yeah, what did you say, Mel? You were like, well, I knew I could haul ass because it was powdery snow if I went down.
If you go down, you're okay.
All right, I'll be all right. Yeah, because this is not easy terrain to move.
Nah,
in.
you can now see the sun is full blast.
Oh yeah. But you don't notice it.
Right.
It's kind
Especially not now. We've added some visual effects snow.
Yeah,
and
now
toned
that
down
we've
the sky.
knocked down the sky a little
taking
bit,
the blue out of the
we
sky
did some
really
good
helped
stuff.
even it out.
It looks amazing now. It's a lot more
But it
organic.
gives, I don't know, it gives the whole sequence
there's
more of an
to
art.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
sure. Gets nice and bright and sunny and happy when Santa's dead.
These moments. These
I
moments.
love the
just,
tension.
Another thing we had to do was like shoot everything outside in. You don't think about this, but the snow would just be destroyed as we shot it.
That was one of the trickiest things.
Yeah.
Was to work around that and not have to do a bunch of replacement and
And I mean, it's like
VFX at the end.
it's like 99% of this is Mel and Walton, which is fucking amazing.
There's a couple of shots in
I
here
mean, we were sprinting at the end of this.
Yeah.
Ooh. Taking his temperature.
I think originally it didn't go through the back, did it?
I don't know where it's going, but it's like it doesn't look good.
Oh man, I love this.
And
Sold the shit out of this moment. The crawl.
This is one of these things too that we progress too. We start the sequence on sticks or dolly, and then I
Yeah.
feel like we get maybe a little steady cam, and then by the end we're full on handheld.
Handheld, yeah. That's great. Works good.
Yeah.
Pretty smooth too.
Yeah.
Some good operators, Jeremy
Mitch.
and Mitch.
Yeah, those guys were
They did a good job.
all over it.
They were both from Toronto, so well versed
Yeah,
in the
there you
snow.
go, there you go.
Thank God a lot of the local crew was used to working.
Oh,
So nasty.
man.
Oh.
And
How long does it take you to get that blood out of your beard?
You know,
It's still in there.
we had the blue shampoo.
I think that's such a great moment.
That look, he's like, I did it.
And he's not happy about it, which is great.
No, he's not.
he's just a mess,
Yeah,
too.
he just realizes this wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
Mrs. Claus. She's a back shooter.
Get him when he's not looking.
Whatever it takes. She's ornery, man.
I just like to picture all the times because you have that great line. You think you're the first. You know, all the other times that this
Yeah,
has gone
really.
down.
Yeah, you realize, holy shit, there's a
You're like,
path.
damn.
There's a lot of
this
psychos
happened
that come up with the
before.
Klondike.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fight him off,
Yeah.
man.
He's ready.
During the gold rush days.
Right? We can go on forever.
Exactly.
Some period pieces.
The
Oh, yeah.
adventures we've had, man.
Yeah. What'll be his next challenge?
Yeah.
We're thinking Chris
And the
wants to
origin
get out of the
story.
cold weather.
Yeah.
He wants to do it, a year or two in Hawaii.
Which works well.
Mexico or
because
something.
so do we, really.
One of them drinks with a little umbrella.
All of a sudden, it became like a horror movie in this with the Walton's breathing. Oh, so scary.
And the creaks.
And the
this
creaks.
Clumping
oh my
along
God.
through the house with the wooden floor.
Oh, his eye, Johnny. Like, you popped his eye. Oh,
This is probably one of my favorite shots.
It's so
yeah.
So,
You just don't realize, too, like what the Atmos, how the separation happens with it.
yeah.
She's got a blunderbuss.
We had sort of a mantra of no elves were harmed during the making of this film. like Johnny said, it felt very much like a school shooting to us, and I think that was something that we were trying to be conscious of, you know.
Yeah.
No L's were shot.
Well, just in the sound design.
The sound
when Skinny
design.
Man comes through, it's like, ah! And they're like running.
Oh,
and just-
right.
Yeah, it was
running.
It looks like these
Kids.
defenseless characters
Kids running,
yeah.
you know.
Okay.
So
barricading themselves behind a thing. Yeah.
I think it's a little
Kids with 5 o'clock shadows.
And pointy ears.
Yeah.
giant chops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that we were trying to be conscious of taking the piss out of it or the fun out of it by too much reality at times.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted it grounded but fun.
It's not fun when
I
that
know,
was
and for us, like, this is a tragedy. Walton's life is a tragedy,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
So that's why.
Yeah, you feel sorry for him.
Yes,
I do.
Well, I mean, that is, it's like, this shit didn't have to be that way.
Yeah, it was like one of those stylistic choices too. That sun doesn't exist out there, but there was just this moment where like the sun's coming in on Walton on the floor, and it just felt right for the moment, even though it doesn't necessarily match. I just think it's one of those emotional
great.
things that you
I think
connect
it's fucking
to.
great.
Sure.
This reminds me of like a Shakespearean tragedy with.
Yeah, because you're right. It is sad, even though he's
It's more
just
like Charles Dickens with this guy.
Back to her.
Again, another one of my favorite scenes where Mel and Chance finally come together here.
It wasn't by chance.
This was one of the ones as a DP that when I read the script, there's always that moment where you're like, I better not fuck this up. Like
Yeah.
I got to get this scene right. This is the one that really
Put pressure on
matters.
yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
That's good.
And I
It's
think it-
ominous.
I think it holds up.
That's so great. Especially with when we got in there and coloring, we were able to sort of play with a lot, like really shape those shadows and those dark edges on Mel's face. And
You didn't have to mess with any effects in the eyeball or anything.
no, we shadowed it a little bit more so
Yeah.
that while we're in there, while you're sitting first off,
You don't
just
see
to,
it.
just to protect this area
Right.
where the eye patch comes up a little bit. But it looks amazing. It looks
Yeah,
incredible.
that was one of the most amazing things for me too, because literally there's a strip of light that's maybe 1.5 inches wide, and
Yeah.
Mel just has to lean into it and hit it perfectly, and every single time.
Nailed it.
Every other time. Yeah.
It's not the case with every actor I've worked with.
Oh, awareness.
I think that's the luck of having Mel having worked in front of the camera so much and behind the camera so much.
No, I think most people that work, if you worked a bunch, you know where all your lights and keys,
Right.
and you know where all that stuff is, and your marks. And,
But I can't remember how many times you came up to us and you're like, "What lenses are we on?"
Oh,
we
yeah.
talked through some of that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But I mean, that's
That's
absolute.
important.
But that's absolutely your experience as a director. I mean, some of that stuff we would talk about. We had a lot of fun talking about stories from some of your sets that, informed us, and some like you were teaching us this trick of the double frames and whatnot that we had a lot of fun with in the editing
Oh,
process.
did you? Yeah. That's
Yeah.
fun, isn't it?
It's awesome.
And I think this is the first scene you and Chance had together.
Yeah.
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 First and only.
Exactly.
And this was like his first day.
His first day, that's what I meant.
First
Yeah.
day.
That was his first day.
And he was great.
Yeah, he brought it, man.
Fentanyl.
That was an added line.
That was
an
yours,
added
Mel.
line.
Fentanyl.
That'll do the trick.
The wardrobe here is so great as well.
The hat.
Well, I remember you were so stoked when you saw it all layered up like
With the
that.
hood. I'm
Yeah,
like,
when
wow.
you found that look,
It's
you're
like,
like,
man, this guy looks like he's been hunting like furs up in, the
old
mountains in Wyoming or something. He's
yeah.
some old trapping.
It's incredible. The beard looks like it's part of the whole wardrobe.
Matches well.
Just comes right off with it. It's torture.
Yeah, this scene and this moment and the weight of this scene. I mean, it was so fun to play with this in these moments. And again, with such skilled people.
For us, this is the shootout out. This is the standoff after this. The shootout.
Exactly. It's kind of if they were, it's like a gunslinger scene
Yeah.
to us. It's like it's their face off.
Bent on bloodshed was
And although they don't have guns, it's
like you.
brutal.
He thought he lived out.
Also gives a lot of the themes of redemption,
Sure.
forgiveness. How do you move on? Like,
He is now buried with his lack of.
Well, that was a big thing for me when I read it, because I feel like Billy's the perfect in between, because he can go either way, and that's why I did the visual connection to both characters. See it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even in the way that like Billy, Walton's character sort of takes over from Billy, you almost see that like that's where Billy could go if Santa doesn't
Chris can
save him.
step in and-
And turn his life.
Make him a better person by threatening to kill him.
Well,
Scared
he's gonna
straight.
come back and get him. He's not gonna. He's gonna teach him a lesson.
Who knows if we sequel from this moment and go off? You never know what Billy's got in store for the next round. All right, or has Billy gone straight, or is he stepping it up?
Also reminds me of the old Fable, Mel, you would probably know more, but in one country, Santa drags the bad kids from their beds.
Yeah. Does he?
Is it?
Yeah, like it's this old tale of like, if you're not good, I'll drag you from your bed at night.
Maybe
Yeah,
you kind
that's
of
one of the best lines. It's like, I'll rip you from your covers.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, that
Stems from
scares
this
children.
old fable of Saint Nick doing that, or one of the Santa kind of
they would,
iterations.
there
in
were
one
some
country.
Norwegian. I think it's
Like, I wanna say Norwegian, yeah,
I think it's a
yeah.
Norwegian thing where they would like
Like-
the parents would say, if you're not good, Saint Nick's
Saint-
gonna. Or
like-
I don't think they'd say Saint Nick. It wasn't
Whoever
Saint
it
Nick then, but
was,
it was
yeah.
like Father Christmas or whatever's gonna come get you
Yeah.
because you haven't been good.
And take you away.
Yeah, and I guess that's where the Krampus sort of
I think
idea
so.
came from, right?
The Kringle.
The Kringle's gonna get you.
I like that you guys brought the hamster back too. You'd be
Hamster.
surprised how many people wonder what happened to the
Now,
hamster.
did he freeze in the car? Like, no, these guys found him and
No
saved him.
hamsters were hurt either.
Something I never would have thought about.
And here we are rebuilding, coming back stronger than ever.
He's got a flair for architecture, this fella.
Is this the final track as well?
No, this is right now what we have in here is a temp, but I believe. But they've done a great job on the final track. It's amazing.
Oh, is this it?
No, I don't know.
Oh, you haven't heard?
No,
Oh,
they've got, it's in there now, but it's not on this one. It's not on this version.
The eye patch ad is such a good
Dude,
look.
I love the eye patch.
So great.
It's such a great moment. You're like, oh shit. I guess the question will be for a sequel: does his eye grow back in time, or does he need to wear the patch the whole time? It's an interesting choice.
And we're gonna keep it that way.
We are.
Well, like, is it one of those like white? Is it like whited out with a giant scar through it now?
Might be too scary.
Got some choices. We got choices though.
Oh.
That's it.
And there we go.
Right.
Thank you for joining us.
Which was this script we wrote. This script 14 years ago.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, and to have it finally brought to fruition.
That's crazy, right?
Incredible.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a marathon for sure.
14 years. Yeah, they do. You can get them for 20. And then they finally happen. Sometimes you get disappointed. And sometimes like this, it's a happy ending.
Man, we couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, no, it's great. I dig it, by the way. I think it's cool.
Well,
It's
we-
just
we couldn't be
utterly
more-
entertaining and weird and off. And it's great.
We couldn't have been more excited when you responded to it, man.
Yeah.
We were pumped.
Yeah.
It was really kind of like, our ideal person
Perfect
doing
consummate.
it. So it's hard to trump that,
Thank you, y'all.
Yeah.
Have a great one.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Over and
All
out.
right, everybody.
Cheerio.
Thank you.